coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
All this week, we're looking at the state of weed, from regulations to economic impact. This after Missouri voters made medical marijuana legal last year. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain.
And I'm Marissa Rios. Thanks for joining us. This year, the state's working to figure out how it will all work. KOMU 8's Blake Salmon starts our week-long series with how it could affect our state's pocketbook. Blake?
I spoke to an MU economist who looked at other states. He says the sale tax revenue will net the state more than $1 million in its first year. But one man who helped write the amendment that passed, he thinks that the state will get a lot more than that.
It'll be significant. It's not going to be a game changer. We're not trying to enrich the state by impoverishing patients.
There's a lot still up in the air when it comes to the economic boost the Show Me State could get from medical marijuana. Researchers at MU, like Joe Haslag, looked at states that have already legalized medical marijuana. Haslag is trying to forecast how many people would qualify as patients.
And what we observed is that over time, in almost every state that we've observed, they start off with a fairly low percent, and then that percent rises up to about 2%, 2.5% maybe for most states.
There's a lot of variables, but researchers projected just over 19,000 Missourians would become qualified patients in the year 2020. They projected 22,500 in 2021 and more than 26,000 the next year. They found users would need between 5,000 to 7,000 pounds of marijuana in 2020, 9,000 to 12,000 pounds in 2021, and 13,000 to 15,000 pounds in 2022. They projected marijuana selling at $350 an ounce with a 4% special sales tax. That would net the state between $1.2 and $1.6 million in 2020, $2.2 to $2.9 million in 2021, and $2.9 to $3.4 million in 2022. But some say that could just be the ground floor. How many qualified patients do you think we could see in the first 3 years?
A couple 100,000.
Really?
Yes, I think that's quite possible and quite consistent with the experience of states who have laws similar to Missouri's.
Columbia attorney Dan Viets helped write Amendment 2. He feels Haslag's estimates are too conservative.
Our law is as broad as any of the laws in the country.
According to Haslag, Missouri's list of qualifying conditions is most similar to Arizona's. In both states, people can get certified for a medical marijuana card for a wide range of conditions, including cancer, psychiatric disorders like PTSD, muscle spasm conditions like MS and epilepsy, as well as for severe or chronic pain.
In a forecast, if we are just like an average state, we'd be somewhere in the 20 to 25 range. But if we really do look like Arizona, we could be as high as 60,000 in the first year.
How much of a boost medical marijuana could give the Show Me State is unclear, as lawmakers continue to hash out the details. Now, much of that depends on how the state sets up the rules. Those should come out in early June. Medical marijuana could be available as soon as next January. In the studio, Blake Salmon, KOMU 8 News.
All right, thank you, Blake. Our week-long series continues tomorrow night. The next report takes a look at how different local governments are preparing. Emma Claybrook uncovers the zoning plans that are coming into place even before the state rolls out its plan. That's tomorrow at 10.
The push for freedom continues for Charles Erickson. Erickson was convicted of murdering Tribune sports editor Kent Heitholt in 2004. And Erickson has been in prison for almost 15 years out of a 25-year sentence. Erickson's family, along with a support group, hosted a petition rally for him today at Peace Park. More than 20 people had signed the petition by noon. Erickson's mother said she is very hopeful and will not give up until her son is a free man.
We are hopeful. We also know that Landon Magnuson, Charlie's attorney, is not going to give up. So if Charlie does not get justice in the court of Pike County, we know that Landon Magnuson will appeal to the Court of Appeals and beyond if necessary.
Erickson's attorney is still waiting to hear whether his most recent appeal gets approved. More details about the timeline of his case can be found on our website, KOMU.com.
Well, you might have seen a lot of red shirts in Jefferson City this morning. Hundreds of volunteers gathered to revitalize parts of the community. Mission Jefferson City is an annual day of service made up of volunteers from churches serving different projects. 11 churches lent a hand in helping with 63 different projects today. Mission JC began in 2013, starting with just one church. Event organizer Melissa Hatfield describes how this one Sunday is a bit different from the rest.
We communicate that God really did send us to this community and this city for our city. And so we gave up Sunday morning in order to go out and to worship, but just in a different way.
Mission JC holds this service event on the last Sunday of April each year. About 600 volunteers showed up to help with mulching, cleaning, and more around the capital city.
Just a day after the attack on a San Diego synagogue, President Trump responds as lawmakers continue to call for stricter gun laws. NBC's Jennifer Johnson reports.
Flowers laid outside the Chabad of Poway Synagogue after Saturday's deadly attack. 19-year-old John Ernest allegedly opened fire with an assault-style weapon as worshipers observed the final day of Passover. A 60-year-old woman was killed.
I turned around and I saw the children that were playing in the banquet hall. I ran to gather them together. My granddaughter, 4.5 years old, sees her grandpa with a bleeding hand, and she sees me screaming and shouting, "Get out, get out!"
Ernest reportedly published a hate-filled online letter and claimed responsibility for an arson attack last month at a California mosque.
We've got a big hole in our heart, but I think we're very, very fortunate.
The death toll could have been higher. The gun may have jammed, and an off-duty Border Patrol agent who was in the synagogue fired at the fleeing suspect. President Trump denounced the attack.
We forcefully condemn the evil of anti-Semitism and hate, which must be defeated.
But some lawmakers say condemnations aren't enough.
There is just too much acrimony in our electoral process, in our interactions with each other.
Rabbi Goldstein says the deceased, Lori Kay, was a founding member of the congregation.
Dozens in California are reuniting and trying to heal after the tragedy. Here's what's happening right now. Columbia's annual Earth Day Festival is underway in Peace Park on MU's campus. KMUX's Eric Graves has been out there all day enjoying the weather, food, live music, and a whole lot more. Eric, you having fun out there?
Hey, Emily, I'm having a great time out here, actually. The rain has put a bit of a damper on some things. People are starting to pack up a little bit, as Kitten talked about earlier. We do have some rain coming in. But yeah, today there have been more than 200 booths and vendors here, and really a good mix of things going on. Everything from teaching people about compost, gardening, how to help the earth, to people giving out flower crowns and showing off some local artwork. I talked to one woman today who told me that her and her mother have been coming here for as long as she can remember, and she's loved watching the festival grow and learning along the way.
This is great to have people here, getting people involved in it, really explaining how things are changing and how we can make things better. A lot of workshops coming up.
Told me she works at an elementary school and that now she really wants to start a garden at her school and teach her students about gardening and how they can grow their own plants and things like that. Reporting live in downtown Columbia, Eric Graves, KMU 8 News.
A new form of transportation is wheeling into Columbia, and we're not talking about scooters this time. Instead, electronic bikes or e-bikes. Today, Get About Me Columbia met with Parks and Rec about promoting these bikes. The groups want more businesses to sell them in Columbia. The e-bike comes with a small motor and a controller that allows you to adjust the power while pedaling. People say e-bikes are a good way to get more people biking, including people with a disability. The problem, not many people know about them.
It's kind of like hybrid cars. People understand what they are now, but when they first came out, it was like, what, do you have to plug it in? Does it work? You know, that kind of thing. They didn't get it. Same thing with electric bikes. They're just getting really popular, so people really are just getting to understand them now.
The price of the e-bike is around $2,000.
We carry our Narcan.
Coming up, what this student group is looking to bring onto Mizzou's campus that could help with opioid overdoses. Okay, Kenton, thank you very much. Police located a Camden County woman today after she was reported missing this morning. 57-year-old Elizabeth Stump is nonverbal due to suffering from a stroke and being dependent on insulin. She was reported missing at around 10:30 Saturday morning. Police have not revealed where she was found. A student group at MU is pushing for medicine to help with opioid overdoses to be available at residence halls. According to the Columbia Missourian, making Narcan available would cost the university $3,000 every 2 years. The drug lasts between 60 and 90 minutes and would give first responders time to take the person who overdosed to the hospital. The group is looking to meet with the university to discuss plans in the next couple of weeks.
Crews are beginning to clean up after a crane collapsed onto a street below in Seattle. The accident killed 4 people and injured 4 others. The cause of the collapse is being investigated by the Washington Department of Labor and Industries. The investigation is expected to take several months. And take a look at this cell phone video taken just moments leading up to the crash. It's a time-lapse video showing the crane swaying in the wind about 5 minutes before it collapsed, killing 4 people.
Former President Barack Obama talked about fear in politics at a forum celebrating the birth of Nelson Mandela. The forum was held Saturday at the Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. Obama repeatedly talked about the topic of fear and how it influences politics and public opinion.
A gunman opened fire at a house party in Tennessee last night, injuring 7 people. Police say the shooting happened at a house near a local university, and they say they are unsure of what prompted the shooting. 5 of the injured were taken to the hospital, and the other 2 drove. Police say the injuries are non-life-threatening and no arrests have been made. India is on day 2 of a heat wave, while health officials put the country on orange alert.
Welcome back. Thousands of people are at risk today due to heavy flooding in Mozambique. Take a look at this video here of massive floods in the main coastal city of Pemba. Heavy rains and rushing water swept away cars and homes. Authorities said at least 5 people have died from the storms after it hit late on Thursday. As much as 9 inches of torrential rain is forecast over the next few days.
Temperatures reached 108 degrees Fahrenheit in India Saturday, causing a 2-day orange alert warning. People were hiding from the sweltering heat in the country, and a health official said water bottles were being stocked in all the bus stops and public places in the city. A zoo in northeastern India is providing shelters and sheds with fans and pools for the animals. Summer in India is a difficult time when high temperatures sometimes lead to multiple deaths.
At 10, we're taking a closer look at medical marijuana in Missouri in a week-long special series.
Tonight, we'll look at how sales tax revenue could put money in the state's pocketbook.